welcome back to this week's episode of Chatting with Chip with Barton College football head coach Chip Hester. I am Wilson Times sports editor Paul Durham. And coach, what a big win Saturday at home in Truist Stadium against Newberry, two-time defending South Atlantic Conference champion. You guys played what I feel like was probably your most complete offensive game of the year, 34-17 victory. You did a lot of things right. It was sort of a tough game, as all have been, as we expect every week. But, man, what a game by your quarterback, Jaquan Lynch. 4 touchdown passes. That was a career high. He actually ran for a touchdown, too. What a great game all around. But just want to get your thoughts as we head into another big week in South Atlantic play.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jaquan really stepped up in a big way and was recognized as the South Atlantic Conference Football Player of the Week, Offensive Football Player of the Week. So he did a nice job. Our offensive line, you add JT, Jordan Terrell, Cameron Johnson made big plays. We had some other contributions from other wide receivers, and Gabe Heintzman, I thought, stepped up really in a big way. And then our defense continued to be so consistent. And I thought, it was a hard-fought game. I mean, it was really a physical game. But I thought our guys stepped up and competed for every snap. And anytime you beat Newberry College, you've accomplished a good feat. They're tough. They're talented, well coached. They're aggressive. And so I was proud of our guys. I thought our coaches put together nice game plans, and then our guys executed. And when you do that and you limit some mistakes, then you have a chance to win.
Yeah, and Newberry's one of those teams that you guys have played every year since that very first spring COVID year. Haven't played all the teams and hadn't beaten them until Saturday. Right. They beat you guys the very first year, 2017. That was as close as y'all came to a win, not counting the Lewisburg exhibition win. But man, they have laid you guys out the last couple years, and this was a especially pleasing, I think, satisfying win for you guys Saturday.
Well, it was a fun day. It was a fun day. Even though it was fall break, I thought, last week we talked about needing the community to come out and support us, and they did. I thought, the cheer team hung around, and the band hung around, and then our families and the community. We had a great atmosphere during fall break, and I thought that was good. The Board of Trustees was meeting on campus, so there was still energy in that stadium, and I think that's our guys feed on that. It's good. It's good to be home, and it's good to win those big games at home because I think it only kind of adds to the excitement of this season. And the thing that we've got to do is now come down off of that and get ready for another great game this week. Lenoir-Rhyne. We're heading to Hickory this weekend against an undefeated team. So in this league, there's no time to enjoy what's happened. You got to kind of look forward.
Yeah, we'll delve into the Bears here in a second. That's a whole chapter right there. But right now, you're right, man. That atmosphere, I mean, we've talked from the beginning about before this stadium was built, and man, the atmosphere, you couldn't have asked for better weather, better day for college football at Truist Stadium right there on the Barton College campus. Coach, I thought Saturday, back to the offense, I think we've talked about this over and over and over again. When you get other things going in your offense and you establish that early, as you did Saturday, it opens up the groundwork for Jordan Terrell to do what you guys really want him to do, which is run the ball down the other team's throat. But when you can pass that ball, man, it just really worked out. And I had to ask Jaquan, and you brought his name up too, the Heintzman wrinkle came in, and it really established you guys made Gabe Heintzman, he's an H-back, was a former wide receiver, can do a lot of things, great special teams guy, made him a target on that first drive. He caught 3 passes, including the 11-yard touchdown pass. That changed a lot of things Saturday's game. It really made the Newberry defense think a bit about what they were going to do next.
Yeah, I think it's something that, again, you're right, we've talked about it a lot, is you've got to hit some guys in the passing game in order to make people play you honest. And so a couple of those passes to Gabe were times where you're reading a linebacker. If he hangs in the box and you're going to throw it out, and I think that the wide receivers are doing a great job blocking on that play. And so they can't cheat in and pinch in and have that extra guy in the box and the safety coming down. And so I thought it made Newberry play us a little more honest. Again, Coach Mariani and the offensive staff, I thought, had some good wrinkles. We've been practicing a couple of those things, but the opportunity came up, and then when that opportunity comes up, you make the call. Then you got to make plays. And I thought Gabe did a nice job. Jaquan got it to him, and then Gabe did some nice stuff when he had the ball in his hand. So yeah, you're right. If we can hit on some other things and become pretty versatile on our offensive side, we're going to be tough to defend, and I think we're getting to that where we are tough to defend. If you don't have a safety over the top, and they're playing at good depth, we can get behind you. We've got some speed, we've got some size. We hit some guys down in the red zone, some bigger wide receivers, and so all that kind of plays together. And what it does is it makes you more efficient. And that leads to being more successful on the whole. I think another really key stat as you look at the game from this past weekend was third down conversions. 8 for 11 is absolutely phenomenal.
That's about undefeated, isn't it?
That's great. You're gonna have a good offensive day when you make that happen. And then we had the 1 4th down that was
touchdown.
That was a touchdown.
Yeah,
So
and you had to go for that.
Yep.
Especially if you got denied on 4th and inches the play before. But yeah, I think that brings up a big point that Jaquan was really on it, and that was the difference in that game being maybe a 1 touchdown game and a 17-point win for you guys, because he did hit Devon Adams right there at the end of the half. It's time running out. It was a tight play. He had to have it. And then that big touchdown to Zachville Smith, another guy, first career touchdown catch on 3rd down in the red zone, 3rd and 4 or inside the 5 at least. And I mean, those were huge plays. And then you guys did not really throw downfield much at all until the one time you did, and you got a 6 out of it, 65-yard completion to Cameron Johnson. And at that point, when you've just sort of given them a little bit of JT, you're giving them a little bit of short passes, you find your H-back, then you air it out. And who better to run into that ball than Cameron Johnson?
Yeah.
Like I said, a complete game, I thought, for you guys' offense. Now you can tell me all the things you did wrong.
And we did. There's, I think, anytime you want to continually improve, and you've got to look critically at what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. And I coach help with the wide receivers, and there were some blocks where we didn't get exactly the way we wanted to get, and so those are things that take a 10-yard gain into a touchdown springing block. And so those are things that we've got to continue to work on. And I think, again, defensively, we want to continue to try to create turnovers. That's something that's really, I think, big for us and we weren't able to turn them over a little bit. So those are things I want to continue to work on and get better at. We don't want to have 3 and outs. We had a couple of those, or at least one of those, and so there's room for improvement. I think something that I don't think we ever want to get to the point where we can't enjoy a win. I think we need to enjoy this win, but I think and I think we played well on the whole, but I think there's still room for improvement. And I tell our guys all the time, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're not staying the same. That doesn't happen in college athletics. And so we want to, Coach Washington was a defense coordinator when I was at A&T. He said, you always want to stay green and growing. And so we want to stay green and growing. We want to continue to try to get better. And we've had a good week of practice thus far. We've got to have, again, I talked to our guys about preparation and how important it is to have good weeks of practice, good days of practice, in order to have the luxury of expecting to be successful on Saturdays.
Absolutely. And if you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
Absolutely.
You can't, like you said, if you stay the same, that's the same as getting worse, I think, in just about any endeavor. Now we move on. We can finally talk about Lenoir-Rhyne. This week, it's funny, the guys I talked to after the game, Jaquan Lynch, Colby Anderson, they all brought up Lenoir-Rhyne too. It's definitely on your minds, and why shouldn't it be? This is the biggest game Barton College has played in 4 years, probably. Because if you win this game, you're not done. You're not out of the woods. You got 3 more big games.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this is gonna. I mean, you beat Lenoir-Rhyne. Right now, they're the hands down favorite to win this conference. They're unbeaten. They're nationally ranked. They are number one in rushing, I think, in the conference, if not certainly high up. They're also the number one defense rushing. You know what you're going to have to do against the Bears. You've done that for a long time.
Absolutely.
Not much has changed with Lenoir-Rhyne football over the decades. Coach, where are you guys at going into this game? You should be excited and ready to go to Hickory on Saturday and do what you can do at Moretz Stadium.
Yeah, I think, you look back 4 years ago or even 5 years ago and you say, man, we want to one day play in meaningful games in October. This is a meaningful game in October. You know me, and next week it's the same. I mean, in the week before it's the same, and so we've talked with our coaches and with our players. This is where it's one of those weeks where I don't think we're going to have to motivate our guys a whole lot and try to pump them up, which I don't think we have to do very much anyway because we've got a very mature football team. But we've got to continue to carry on with our processes and in preparation and things like that. The thing that we've got going for us this week is Monday and Tuesday of this week are fall break, and so we get a chance to let the guys sleep in a little bit so they don't have to get up at 6 a.m. for weights, and they can catch up on some studies, they can catch up on some sleep and some things like that. So we want to be at our best physically and mentally, this is one of those games where you don't get a chance to play a ranked opponent very often, and so we've got tons of respect for their program, always have and always will. But just like any week, we're going to respect our opponent. We're not going to fear our opponent. That's just not what we're going to do. And we're looking forward to competing with one of the best teams in the country. This is a great opportunity for us, and I expect our guys will come to play and come to compete.
Well, because you guys have gone through some things as a team, over the 4 seasons that you guys have been together, for the most part. Most of them, and one thing that strikes me about this year's team is you guys have not avoided the injury bug. You have quietly encouraged some fairly significant injuries. Trey Pickard on your offensive line, Quayon Gilbert, one of your top defenders from the beginning, not out there, as well as a few other ones. This team has sort of managed those distractions, that adversity. So far, they've managed to sort of make it work and keep going. I think that says a lot about, like you said, the maturity level of this team.
Yeah, I do. I think we've got, you and I talked at the beginning of the year about the experience that our guys have. We've got a bunch of guys that have been at it a while, and they're invested heavily, and so we've got a great group of leaders, and we lean on those guys heavily, and they've come to and kind of risen to the challenge each and every week, and we've been tested. It's not like we've run away with games, so we're battle tested. I think we're getting better, and that's encouraging. It's something that I think we can build on and continue to kind of grow. And this is going to be a challenge. This is a good football team we're playing. They know what they're doing. They're good on defense. They've got skilled players all over the place, and big guys up front. So this is going to be a real challenge, but I think our guys are up to it, and I don't think they're going to panic. That's not what we do. I think they're, maybe a couple of years ago we might have been intimidated a little bit, but I don't think that's in this team's DNA now.
Well, I would think that the Bears are fully aware of the Barton Bulldogs at this point, having played them for 3 years. You guys are 5-1, second best record in the conference coming in. And frankly, you guys win this game, you're going to be in first place, and you're going to be in a position to do something in the conference. But like I said, no sleeping, because you got Wingate, you got Limestone, you got 4 more games after this week, and none of them are really going to be easy.
Well, and that goes back to the kind of coach speak, but it's so important for us to realize that we can't look at implications and what it means for down the road. We have got to find a way to execute on the next play, and then that series, and then what are the things that are going to get us successful. It's the things like making sure we're in our gap, making sure that we've got stuff contained, making sure that we're doing the little things correctly, and I think that's where it doesn't get too big for you. And I think in years past we might have been we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to be perfect. Well, no, we don't have to be perfect. We got to play well, and we've got to compete like crazy, and we've got to stay poised because things are going to go wrong in this game. They're a good football team, and then if things go right, we got to keep on keeping at it, so to speak.
Keep playing.
Keep playing. That's what we say all the time. So I'm again something that you and I've talked about a lot. I'm excited to see how we respond this week.
Yeah, and it's funny. And talking to Colby Anderson after the game, he brought it up like you said. Coach says we just got to keep playing, so we just kept playing. So,
right.
And that's the mentality, and that's where that's where you're at. That's why you are where you are. But hey, next week we're gonna keep here. We're gonna keep doing Chatting with Chip. Win or lose on Saturday, hopefully it's a win. But we'll be back to talk about that game as well as the upcoming game the week after against Wingate. So be sure to be back here next Tuesday on Chatting with Chip.